Hello there, and welcome to another episode of the Red Delta Project podcast, where we teach you how to maximize your results with minimalist fitness strategies like grind-style calisthenics and diet-free, satisfying, healthy eating strategies. My name is Matt Schifferly, founder of the Red Delta Project, author of the books Fitness Independence and Smart Bodyweight Training. Today, by popular request, we're discussing routines and programming strategies for grind-style calisthenics. Particularly, what do you do on a weekly basis? How do you parse these things up? The whole idea behind grind style is take a muscle group, work it really, really hard, and then let it recover and have it super compensate, so that way you're building muscle and strength over time. And the first part to recognize is that the actual routine in a workout follows the 4 phases of the grind style method. The reason for this, of course, is because of the muscle tension hierarchy. Muscle tension hierarchy means that if you want to build a muscle, you're limited by the work capacity of the muscle. And if you want to improve the work capacity of the muscle, that's limited by how well you can stabilize your body in space. And your stability is therefore limited by your ability to control the tension throughout your muscles. So it's tension, stability, strength, and work capacity, and then finishing off with hypertrophy, things that can really make the muscles get an extra sense of fatigue. So each of our workouts take a muscle group or a chain, because we use chain training, which is a collection of muscles that serve a collective functional purpose, and we use them in those grind phases with every single workout. So let's say, for example, we have the leg day, right? Squat chain. The squat chain is every muscle from the lower body down. So in the tension control phase, we're practicing just making the muscles in the legs tense, standing, squatting, holding various positions, just improving that mind-muscle connection. This is something that shouldn't take more than 30 seconds or so. It's a fairly quick, simple process, but it's just kind of knocking on the muscle saying, hello, wake up, time to get ready to rock and roll. Then you have your stability phase, and this involves what I call shift work. Shift work is where you are in various positions and you're basically just kind of moving your body around. It's a very playful approach where you're just kind of shifting and moving. And if you ever studied things like Mike Fitch's Animal Flow or like GMB's Elements, something where you're just kind of moving and exploring how your body moves, that's kind of what stability work is all about. It's not so much structured work like this is how you do it exactly, this number of exercises and reps and sets and things of that nature. It's more like playful nature. Then you've got your grind phase, and the grind phase is the meat and potatoes of what you're doing. So with the grind phase, you're taking a level of resistance or a technique that you have in grind style calisthenics. We have 6 major levels for each tension chain, as I've been explaining in my previous videos. And you select the 1 or 2 that work for you so that you can adequately work a muscle extremely hard between 5 to 15 repetitions for 3, maybe 4 sets if you like a little bit more volume. Then after that, then you have the hypertrophy phase, and the hypertrophy phase is where you have either finish work, where you really make your muscles work super hard with either isometrics or lower level work, and you just basically drive them into the ground, or you also have focus work, where you do things that focus on individual muscles. So for example, with the squat chain, we could do calf raises, we could do sissy squats to focus on the quads, we could do hamstring curls, which would obviously focus on the hamstrings, we even could do hip work. Now, the thing to recognize about those 4 phases is that for the most part, they're very loosey-goosey, kind of non-structured. The tension control and the stability phase are very playful. You're checking in with how you're feeling, what's going on, what's tight, what needs to be woken up, and there's not a whole lot of very rigid structure with it, so you can interpret what's going on with your body and then give it more, give it less, do different exercises, whatever you kind of feel is right for you. The grind phase is very structured. That is 3 sets, and you do exactly the same number of repetitions you did last time. You do exactly the same exercises, you do them the exact same way. Everything is exactly the same, except for 1 set, which you improve on 1 set with the backfilling strategy. And I go into that more with other videos. You can link up here to check those out. But the grind phase is extremely structured because we want to tell the body exactly what we want it to do in very simple, clear, understandable terms. We don't want muscle guessing. We want to tell it, this is what you got to do. We want it to know exactly what's going on. Then in the hypertrophy phase, you're back in play mode. You can do anything you want. You can change it up every single workout. You can do different exercises. One day you could be doing hamstring curls, the next day sissy squats, or you could do both, or you could do jump squats to finish off the legs. It's kind of a roll your own, because the grind phase is where most of your progress is made. You're just kind of finishing yourself off with that hypertrophy phase. So it's a little bit of a, what did you not feel we addressed enough, or that you're addressing enough in your workouts? And then you can get that in that. So that's what you do for each of the chains in a workout. And it's usually separate. So if you are doing, for example, your squat chain and your push chain in a single workout, you do your squat chain, and then you do your push chain afterwards. Now you could superset them back and forth. I haven't honestly tried that myself. It'd be something fun to do. So what you would do is you would superset the phases. So you would do the tension phase for the squat chain, then the tension phase for the push chain, then the stability phase for the squat chain, stability phase for the push chain, grind phase, superset with grind phase. You can alternate and superset the sets if you like, or you can just get all of the phase of the squats first, then all of the phase of the push chain second, and then you would just do the hypertrophy phase, and again you can superset or just get one after the other. So that's the actual routine of a given grind style workout. Now, how would you do this in a routine for the week? That's, I know, one of the biggest questions. And the way that we can do this is a number of ways, but we structure it according to chains. So various workouts like this is this chain and that chain and so on. So let's explore a couple of ways we can do this along a 7-day work week. The first one is a movement chain, support chain, 4-day split. So the way this works is movement chains. We have 6 chains in the body. We have 3 movement chains, push, pull, and squat. And then we have the 3 support chains, which are flexion, extension, and your lateral chain, which run up the entire length of the body. So with the 4-day split, what you're doing is on Monday, you would have, for example, the movement chain, so push, pull, squat. Then Tuesday, you'd have the support chains, so flexion, extension, lateral. Wednesday would be a day off, and then you would repeat it again for Thursday and Friday. This type of approach ensures that you're getting everything twice a week, which is usually a good number for a lot of people, but it gives you 3 full days of the week that you can also have with other types of activities like martial arts, yoga, hiking, or whatever you like to do. Or if you have trouble recovering from your workouts, this can be a very good way to go about it as well. For those who aren't active in other ways and they want a little bit more volume, then you have the movement support chain 6-day split. And the way this works is you just simply alternate between the two over 6 days. So it's movement chain, support chain. Right again, movement chain, support chain, and then once again, movement chain and support chain. That leaves you with 1 full day off, but this is a good way to go if you want to make grind style calisthenics kind of the bulk of what you're doing for a lot of your exercises. It is something that requires a bit more of recovery. So the way I always look at it is this should be something that you can have on a fairly consistent level of energy throughout the week. If Monday and Tuesday are feeling great, Wednesday and Thursday are feeling, and then you're kind of struggling to get through the final 2-day split, then it may not be best for you because you want to feel like you're bringing a lot to every single workout. And if you're struggling through the last movement chain and support chain split, then it may be a little bit of overdriving your headlights, and that 1 rest day is probably not quite enough to give you the recovery that you need. The next strategy can be a little bit more of a mixture of between the movement chains and the support chains for a full body workout that you then split 2 different ways, but you would split it up during the week versus BAB or ABA. And the way this works is you'd have 2 different types of full body. So let's say, for example, push chain, squat chain, flexion chain. And then the other one, you'd have 2 of the support chains, so lateral chain, extension chain, and pull chain. So then you would alternate between the 2 for 3 days of the week, let's say Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So that's workout A, workout B. And then you would alternate between the 2, and each week you're basically rotating through which one you do twice. So the week 1, you would get your A workout on Monday and Friday, and then the B workout on Wednesday. And then the next week, you would reverse the process. This is another one that's really good for those who are fairly active, have very labor-intensive jobs, have a hard time recovering, and they want to put a lot of effort into their workouts, but at the same time, they're finding that recovery is at a premium. Another fun way that you can do it is to do everything all at once in a single workout. It's going to take a bit of time for you, but keep in mind that some of the tension and supportive and stabilizing exercises carry over well from one chain to the next. For example, the hands clasped behind the back exercise, that's a good tension control exercise for 3 chains. So it may not be quite as bad as doing everything all over again, but with a full body, twice a week approach, that means you'd be on like Monday and Thursday, for example. You get the whole body. It's a big workout. You're putting a lot of energy and effort into it, but you're also giving yourself a lot of time to recover in between your workouts. If you're feeling a little more saucy, you can of course do it 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, whatever days. What the days you work out are really more down to what fits your schedule, what fits your time preferences more than anything else. Your muscles don't know what day of the week it is, so structure your workouts on the days that just seem easiest for you to do. And then finally, my favorite, and the one that I like to use, is a movement chain, support chain, 3-way split over 6 days of the week. So what you do with this is each workout you have 2 chains that you're working. One is a movement chain and then one is a support chain. I like this one because the movement chains tend to create a lot more fatigue in the body and work the central nervous system, whereas the support chains are a lot easier on the body as a whole and kind of feel almost like a little bit of a cool down period, almost. So the way this works is you have your 3 movement chains and your 3 support chains superset over a 3-day period, and then you repeat it again for the next half of the week, and you have 1 day that you can do a rest day or do whatever you like on that day as well. For me, it's usually hiking, biking, or skiing. So for the plan that I do, and you can mix this up however you prefer, but the way I do it is Monday is push chain and flexion chain. Tuesday is pull chain and the extension chain, and then Wednesday is squat chain and lateral chain. And to a certain degree, these almost work well with each other because push chain is like push-ups, which also involve your abs. So it's kind of like flexion chainy a little bit, so they work together. Same thing with pull chain. Pull chain, you have a little bit of extension chain involved in there, especially if you're doing recline rows and you have your glutes and your hamstrings engaged. And then of course, with your squat chain, you're using your hips quite a bit for that. So your lateral chain uses your obliques, it uses your hips to a great degree as well. As an extra bonus in the book, I'm also giving you a Grind Style Plus routine. Now, the CC Plus routine is an ebook that I created. By the way, the link is down below if you want to download it and read it. It's completely free. But the CC Plus routine was based on the idea that it's more beneficial, especially when you're starting off, to practice engaging all of the major muscle groups in the body on a daily basis to build up the proficiency in things like tension control and stability. It was originally based off of the convict conditioning Big 6, where you do 1 or 2 light sets of the Big 6 of all the exercises, except for at the very end, then you have your working sets for whatever your normal workout would be that day. So that way you've got a nice mixture of working really hard and working really kind of casual and lighthearted practice to build proficiency and skill and muscle and strength in the same workout. It's kind of a best of both worlds approach. Now, the great thing about grind style calisthenics is this is inherently built into every single workout because these tension and stability phases are already kind of a practice and proficiency improvement phases. Then you got your grind and hypertrophy phases, which are all about making the muscles work and suffer for their sins. So it's kind of a mix already, but what you can do to really improve your proficiency is the Grind Style Plus routine is you practice the tension and stability phases of all 6 chains every single day. And again, this shouldn't take too terribly long, like 5 minutes or so. You just kind of rip through them pretty quick. But because you're doing them every day, your mind-muscle connection and your stability in the exercises improves very quickly over a few weeks. Then, after doing the tension and stability phases of everything, finishing with the tension and stability phases of the grind phases you're going to work then thereafter. So for example, with the 3-way split that I was telling you before, if you have push chain and flexion chain as your main muscles you're working that day, you would do the tension phase and the stability phase of all of your tension chains, but you would finish with the tension and stability control phases for your push chain and flexion chain. Then you would go into the grind phases of those and then the hypertrophy phase. Then in the next day, you would repeat the process, but you would put the pull and the extension chain tension and stability phases afterwards, and then roll right into the grind and hypertrophy phases of those. And then you just keep repeating throughout the week. In closing, I just want to reiterate that remember that these general templates are just that, they're templates. Feel free to change, modify, and adjust them however you see fit, because above all, a good effective workout routine is something that has to fit your personal resources, needs, and preferences in order for it to even have a chance of working for you. All right, I've talked long enough. Check out more videos here. And also the Grind Style Calisthenics playlist is brand new on the RDP channel. Click on that. You'll get all the videos of the Grind Style system that I've made to date. If you have questions on that, leave them down below as well. And I thank you very much for your attention again. Talk to you next week. Till then, be fit, live free.